Well, I'm back in the country, and happy Father's Day to everyone who's a father out there. I'm going around the property just inspecting my plants to make sure everything survived. I had somebody watching them, but still, you never know. I had some issues, but that's okay. I've taken care of them. But I'm also noticing things that are just really amaze me. That God doesn't just give us food in gardens, right? He gives us food everywhere, and you just got to look for it, right? Case in point, I found a tree today that I want to show you that you may not know about, but it's absolutely essential to a survival prepper for food if you have it anywhere near you. So let me show you that. Now here's the tree. It's a hackberry tree, and you can tell that by the way the leaves have the little ridges on it. There's also a southern version, which oddly I should have, but I don't. I have the hackberry. It's called the sugarberry. And these trees kind of just look like weeds, honestly. This is a small tree, but it just grew up very quickly. I didn't even realize it was here. And it gets to be up to 130 feet tall. The average is about 30 to 70 feet. And it produces tons of these little berries. To me, they just look like garbage food that maybe a bird would eat or something, and a small rodent or something. The berries themselves really don't have a lot of nutrients. It's just the sweetness, and it's very little pulp. But what you're more interested in is the pit. The pit itself, if you grind it up, you bake it, you turn it into a paste, it's actually very nutrient dense. It's so full of vitamins and good things for you. And when this tree is full in bloom, you will have so much fruit, you won't know what to do with it. And it's good for survival, and it's really helpful. You can put it in breads, porridges, really anything. You could just eat it the way it is, a pit, even though I wouldn't probably do that. So this is just an example of something that just looks like, I don't know, ornamental maybe, or a weed. But this is a great tree to have on your property because it produces tons of fruit. And also, I want to show you a couple other plants that you may not know about, or you may know them and you might not know that they're actually beneficial. Now, this first plant here, I absolutely hate, and I can't exaggerate it any more than it is. It's the bane of my existence. This plant right here, it's called the devil's walking stick, or it's also called Hercules club. It grows very tall, massive pieces of wood, which are actually really good pieces of wood. But the problem with it is it has these sharp spines. You can't really avoid getting cut by them if you handle this wood without basically leather gloves. And when you get scratched by them, there's something about them. I don't know if it's a chemical. You do not heal very well. It takes weeks to heal. There's a numbing agent in it, but it just doesn't go away. And also it puts these root suckers out that just keep growing, and they pop up everywhere. Whenever you cut them up, they just pop up more and more, and they're everywhere. And in fact, I'm gonna have to tear this one up because it just spreads like an invasive weed, and it grows to be up to 130 feet, but it's usually like a gnarled tree that's about 10 to 12 feet tall. However, it does have some actual benefits. This tree is called the toothache tree. And there's for a reason, because if you chew on the leaf, it has a numbing effect, or the bark when it's bigger. If you chew on it tastes terrible. It has a very strong citrusy smell to it, which actually is pretty pleasant. They use it in some perfumes. But the numbing agent in it is really weird. You just basically put it on your tooth and it won't hurt as much. Now, it's only temporary. Of course, you also have that this is the #1 plant that American swallowtail butterflies will put their cocoons on. So this is integral for the ecosystem. Also, the berries are this is actually called like the American Szechuan pepper tree, because it's actually related, and it causes like a numbing agent, and they use it as a spice. Kind of weird to me, to be honest with you, but they do. They'll use the in sparing doses. They'll put the peppercorn type deal, the pit inside. They'll put that on meat to season it, and it gives us this weird numbing agent. My tongue's numb now. But it's a misunderstood plant. I really do hate it just because I have to deal with it all the time. But it actually is a very beneficial plant. Actually, after chewing on that leaf, I cannot honestly see why they might use it for food. It gives it like a zesty kind of zing in your mouth. I think in Szechuan culture, it's called ma. We don't have a word for it, but I can see why you'd use it for food. It kind of flavor enhances and gives you a little zing to your bite. Hey, look, a family of woodpeckers. They don't like that I'm here, and there's some other birds up there that also don't like that I'm near their nest. But what you gonna do? Now this is called pigeon grape. And it's very similar to another grape leaf. Most grape leaves have this kind of shape, but this is more indented on the sides and on the points right here. It's a great grape. It's an odd looking grape. It's a very small grape. I guess that's why they call it pigeon grape. But it makes great jams and jellies. Doesn't have a lot of medicinal value, but you can use the leaves, the young leaves here, for demaldes, or I'm sorry if I butchered that. It's been a long time since I spoke Greek. But you can use it for all kinds of different things, for salads. It's perfectly fine as long as it hasn't been, insecticides on it. So it's a grapevine. And then just as a general rule, I have grapevines all over the place. Muscadine, you should always leave them if you can, especially for a foraging situation, because they will produce tons of free food. And every type of grape is edible. Some of them are not as great as others. Like muscadines have a really hard shell, but they have good quality nutrients. And if you're in a starving survival situation, they really are beneficial to you. Now, I don't have any full-size trees of this because unfortunately when they did the bush hogging on my property, they took them out, unfortunately. But this is called winged sumac, and I have quite a few of these now, thanks to them destroying the big one. So that's good. But they grow to be about 12 foot tall. They're very bushy, and they produce tons of little red berries. Now, not to be confused with poison sumac. Any kind of sumac that has a white berry you want to stay away from, but this has a red berry. There's actually different variations on this. But they can all be used the same as long as they're not the white berries. You basically put them in water. Best not only to clean them very superficially, because you don't want to, the coating is what you want. And you soak that in water overnight, and it creates like this red juice. It tastes a lot like lemonade. They call it sumac-aid, or whatever colloquial way they call it. But it basically tastes like lemonade. So you soak it overnight, and you create volumes of like lemonade type stuff. It's very high in vitamin C, so it's a great plant to have. Now this plant unfortunately did not survive the bush hogging either, but I got some growing here, and you see these little berries. This is called beautyberry. Now the actual full-size ripe berries are bright purple, bright pinkish purple, and you've seen them probably everywhere. They're ornamental plant, and most of us, if I'm, at least in my childhood, were told that they were poisonous. You can't eat them, but that's not true. You can eat them. Now the berry itself doesn't taste very good. It kind of tastes like nothing. But if you actually boil them in a pot with some water and add some sugar, you'll get a syrup. Ooh, there's some thunder. You'll get a syrup that is really good. It tastes kind of like boysenberry to me. It's probably one of the better berries I've ever tasted when it's cooked down properly. Now, it is anti-pectin. There's a chemical in it that will stop you from making it into a jelly, so you have to use extra pectin to make it into a jelly. I better get in, it's raining. You know what they say about Florida, if you don't like the weather, give it 5 minutes. It's pouring rain, but I bet you it'll be sunny in about 10 minutes. So those are just a couple of plants, and there's tons of plants, and I keep finding new ones all the time. I use a program, and I'm not sponsoring it. It's called Picture This. It's just an app you can download. You can scan the pictures. Now, you do pay for it, or you can just use the free one where you can take a couple pictures a day. It's very helpful if you can find something like that, or use reverse image search on Google. That's how I find out a lot about these plants. And then I Google search them and say, what are their uses? And there's tons of uses on these plants. And if you're really interested in foraging, there's literally just food and medicine lying around all over. You just got to be really careful what you do, because there's some lookalikes and there's some other different things. But if you're interested in kind of content, I could definitely keep creating videos about plants and special things you don't know about them, or just all the research I do on them. I'm suddenly becoming a plant person, and I love plants now. So if you'd like to see more of that, let me know. Of course, like I said, I always say I'm an intercessor. I love to pray for people. So if you have any prayer requests, please go ahead and leave them in the comments, or if you can DM me, I'll definitely pray for you. But until next time, take care and God bless.